Welcome back to the Oberlin College Executive Speaker Series. My name is Doug Younger, and I'll be hosting this 12-week series where we bring on entrepreneurs to talk about leadership, success, and if anything, how we're going to make the world better. Today, we have a very, very special guest and a friend of mine. This is Derek Dawson. Derek is a senior sales manager and partner manager at the San Diego Gulls Professional Hockey Club. Go Gulls. We fly together. Derek, welcome to the Executive Speaker Series.
How you doing, Doug? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so Derek, if you don't mind, I would love if you could talk a little bit about yourself. And I think you're an interesting guest for my students in my class because many of them on their pathway to success will end up performing sales or participating in a lot of public facing situations where what I view is you have to understand your audience. And I think you're one of the best in the business when it comes to understanding audiences, just from my own experiences watching you. So if you don't mind, tell them a little bit about you and then, kind of what you do.
Yeah, so again, my name is Derek Dawson. I'm the partnerships manager for the San Diego Gulls Hockey Club out here in San Diego, California. We are the developmental team for the Anaheim Ducks of the NHL. So our team on the ice actually is the young up-and-coming talent for the NHL's Anaheim Ducks. We do have a professional franchise here, and we average about 8,000 to 9,000 people per game. And our job is to pretty much throw 36 parties a year when the team's playing at home. So we have a good time. My job specifically is in the partnerships realm. So I deal with all of the businesses that want to do advertising and marketing through our voice, whether it's on the ice, whether it's through our digital channels, our TV and radio channels as well, and get companies' names aligned with our brand to share their story alongside our story to our fans. So it's a really fun job. And something that I come just from my background, Doug, is everybody's in sales. When you wake up in the morning to when you go to sleep at night, you're selling yourself. So if you don't have that mindset, you're not going to get very far just in life in general. You got to be able to sell yourself. So like you said, everybody's a salesman and everybody's going to have some experience in sales at some point in their career.
Excellent, my friend. Now, one thing that, even though I'm here in Oberlin, which is in Cleveland, Ohio, there's a lot of hockey. First of all, there's a lot of athletes in my class, but there's a lot of hockey fans out here. So if they wanted to check out the Gulls, and obviously they're going to be interested in my own relations to the Gulls, so how would they do that?
Yeah, so right on our website, sandiegogulls.com, we have some streaming options where you can watch our games live through AHL TV, which is our streaming service. We also show games on Fox 5, which is our local cable partner, which probably isn't too accessible back there, but I know they do show through their web platform as well. But yeah, the AHL spans the entire nation. So I'm not sure how close you guys are to Lake Erie out there, but they've got the monsters out there. So
Right.
yeah, you got a team in our league as well, right there close to you. So we've actually played them a couple times. We don't have them on the schedule for the rest of this season, but something to look out for. I have a little rivalry game going with you guys.
Fantastic. Now, one thing that of note that I learned, I've been working with the Gulls for 3 years now, is that you guys do a lot of community projects and social impact. And that means a lot to me because that, it's not just about making money to me. It's not just about, the monetary gains or the power or the influence that comes with good business. It's also about making communities better. So if you don't mind, could you talk a little bit more about your work in social impact?
Yeah, we take a lot of pride in our community as a whole, and just in the sport of hockey in general, really. So growing the game from the ground up is really important to us. We have a public hockey skating rink in Poway, which you've been to, Doug, which facilitates all sorts of programs, whether it's youth programs, youth hockey programs, figure skating programs. We have a special hockey program for people with physical limitations who can go out there and try sled hockey and different. They can even skate if they're able to skate as well. So a lot of different programs on the youth side to really grow the game from the ground up and create long-lasting hockey fans in the community. We also find that through our cause-based promotions, we can bring in themes to our games that really help out the community in general as well. We just last weekend hosted our Women in Sports Night, which is our third annual version of that, where we celebrate the up and coming insurgents of women in our organization and in the sport in general, whether it's referees, whether it's office personnel, all sorts of staff and people that are involved in the game now. From the women's aspect, we had Mexican Heritage Night just recently, where we celebrate our local rich history with the Mexican culture and our proximity to Mexico. Obviously, this is a very, very huge influence of Mexican and Latin heritage locally. Hockey Fights Cancer, First Responders Night. So if we can attach a cause-based promotion to our game, and get that community effort behind it and bring dollars back to the community, it's something to not only have fun with on that night, but really feel good about when it's all said and done.
Excellent, Derek. And one thing that I can say that's truly special for me, I teach at Oberlin, so I'm in my academic perspective right now. But as you know, I'm also the founder and CEO of 3 Steps Forward, a Black-owned Silicon Valley-based company that we partner with you. And maybe you want to tell some of them on the call here how we've worked with you and the Willie O'Ree and Diversity of Hockey Suite.
Yeah, the relationship with you and 3 Steps Forward, Doug, was very natural and came together just very easily, for lack of a better word. Knowing that you have a background with your father and his military history, and that you guys are also a Black-owned business, obviously. So we started out with the Military Hero Program, which is every game out of our 36 home games, we honor a local military business owner, military hero. And that's brought to you by 3 Steps Forward. So that's during the game, we have the entire arena stands up, claps, and gives a good honor to our military hero, presents them with the challenge coin, which is branded with your guys' 3 Steps Forward marketing, and really show the message to the community that we are here and we're backing that military community as well. So knowing that you guys had that tie, it was very easy. And then back to, like you said, you're a Black-owned business. We take great pride in the fact that we had the first Black hockey player in the National Hockey League who actually played for the Gulls in the 70s. Willie O'Ree is the person who broke the color barrier in the NHL, so essentially the Jackie Robinson of hockey, and played for the Gulls. So we take great pride in that, the history behind that. Bob Breitbart, who's a huge sports figure in San Diego, bringing the Gulls to town, was a huge part in bringing Willie here. So we celebrate that with the 3 Steps Forward suite in our arena, where parties can rent that suite for the night, whether it's a birthday party, a corporate outing, things like that. We've got it decorated with pictures of Willie O'Ree, Bob Breitbart, showing the history of how he got here, some of the stats he put up, his stats in the NHL, and celebrating again the fact that we had a historical figure like that play for the Gulls. And it's a pretty big piece of hockey history. So it's really cool to have that just right here in our hometown.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, I would like to segue into the adversity aspect of our conversation. A lot of students deal with transition. A lot of students deal with adversity, whether that's social alignment or the judgments that people can make. But I was just curious, as yourself in sales or as a partner, have you faced adversity in particular?
I mean, as of recent, I hate to bring this back up every time we have a conversation like this, but right through COVID, I took this job right at the beginning of COVID, just a few months before COVID hit and the lockdown started happening. So that was pretty nerve-wracking for me, jumping from the ticket sales side over to the corporate partnership side, and then the world shutting down. So having to sort of refocus, shift my focus to some companies that I might not normally have reached out to, or different emerging markets because of what was happening in the world, and overcoming just those struggles that I was going through at home as a dad, and having to kind of change my schedule and become a part-time school teacher, and kind of overcome all those obstacles was probably one of the hardest things currently in my career that I've had to overcome as far as that goes. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to clarify to those that don't know, I mean, there was a time period where you couldn't get fans in the arena, right? Like you had to follow COVID protocols, even the players, right?
Yeah, we had an entire season where we actually played at a practice rink in Irvine in front of nobody. On a game by game basis, there was maybe 20, 25 people in the arena, which was working staff only. Most of our full-time staff, myself included, were repurposed into other roles. So I was actually the coach's camera operator, where I operated the in-game camera left to right to show the coaches what was going on in the game since it wasn't streamed on AHL.
Wow. And you had no training, no filmography training or videography training, right?
No, I got an iPhone. That's about it. But yeah, it was actually a very unique experience and something looking back on it, I wouldn't change it. It was very cool and a huge learning experience, but something you definitely don't want to have to go through again. It was very fun, very unique, but extremely challenging. Not being able to put, like I said, 8 to 9,000 eyes on somebody's product every night and having to shift that into a completely digital product and find markets who are okay with that and willing to put their trust in me to still convey that message, even though the people were in the building.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing. Now, the theme of this week for my class, we're actually understanding audiences. And something that I think I've seen you do excellent work is managing the levels of organizations that are big, small, nonprofit, for profit. So if you don't mind, like if you could talk a little bit about, who your target audiences are and how do you help them? You're obviously in professional hockey, it's different, but I'm just curious as to is there segments like buckets, like you mentioned ticket holders, so there's season ticket holders, there's general admission, there's partners like myself, but could you talk a little bit about how you do that?
Sure. From my perspective, both personally and from an organizational standpoint, I feel like it's a lot easier to find partners in the community whose values align with our organization. So going back to some of that philanthropic and cause-based efforts that we do, finding companies who are already working in that space, whether it's going to other events in town, going to networking groups, going to the local, races, runs, triathlons, and big events in town to find, hey, these people are having a pet adoption event up the street. We also support pet adoption events. So let's go find out who's in that room and what they're doing and see how we can put our heads together to further that effort. So at the end of the day, it's not about going out and selling something. It's more about going out and finding that cause and putting a group effort behind it to make it more successful in the end. And then partnerships come naturally after that. And I find my clients pretty naturally. I'm not just jamming on the phones, calling new people every day. And that's really the beauty of what we do is finding those brands that align with our organizational values to be able to feel comfortable at the end of the day, like we're doing something to really promote our community and do good things in our community.
Yeah. And you do a lot in team collaboration too, because what I see is you have to work with like the Pachanga Arena. That's not necessarily like the same team, right? Like or you have to work with, the players or, the back office. So there's a lot of people that come together to make a hockey game work, right?
Yeah, there's many moving parts. So we are a tenant of our arena here in town. So we have our sports arena, Pachanga Arena, which is over in the Point Loma area of town here. They're managed by a separate entity. The concessionaire inside the building who does all the food and drink service is a separate entity. We have obviously our hockey ops department, which is separate from our hockey business department. We're all one at the end of the day, but yeah, we definitely have to juggle that piece of the business as well and follow all of the collective bargaining agreements and things with the players, what we can and can't do with them, and on-site visits and limitations to that sort of thing, and giving them their days off and making sure their lives are where they should be at as well. So yeah, it's a lot of balls in the air, and at the end of the day, we do a good job of catching them all, but it's a lot of moving parts.
And do you want to do any shout outs to any your teammates or some of the special people?
I mean, that would take probably half this call. We have a really awesome marketing team over here who really makes my job easy and bringing some of the ideas to life. Our team on the corporate side, Kyle and Greg, and you'll meet Gabs actually pretty soon. We got a new team member that we'll introduce you to when you're in town next month. But yeah, we have a huge team out here that really keeps the wheels turning. We have a weekly meeting where everybody gets on the same page for the games that week, and it's a large production.
That's great. Now, on a personal note, you mentioned that you're a father, but I've seen you do triathlon athletes. You're an athlete, man. Like you still challenge yourself. So, you know, I'm curious, like, what does it make to make such an optimistic person like yourself? Was there a person of inspiration or a mentor that helped you in your development in sales or just in life in general?
Yeah, those are probably two questions that are the same question. I don't want to pump this person's tires too much because I think she might be on the call, but my fiance Sophia, we when we met, we were obviously we met as friends, and she put me on a journey through. I was going through some stuff in my life personally, just mentally, physically, things that probably all kind of spurred from the same place. And she really motivated me to take a better look at my health, my overall health, whether it's mental health, physical health, and that kind of encouraged me to get outside my comfort zone a little bit. I tend to kind of obsess over things when I get into them, whether it's triathlon or playing men's league hockey, or now I'm on this big kind of gym lifting workout strength kick. But I was able to overcome, with the encouragement of Sophia, a lot of the challenges that I was facing in my life, physically and mentally, with staying active and getting out and just getting a good sweat in every day. And that difference was huge in not only my personal life and being able to be a father and being able to go and do an Ironman triathlon, but also into my professional life as well. Makes me a lot healthier and a lot more productive on that aspect of my life too. So I just wasn't firing on all cylinders, and she kind of keeps me in check and calls that out when I need to hear it. So
Yeah, for a lot of my students listening, there, listen to this, is that your domestic partner can be a significant driving force of motivation for you. So, if you can help it, if you're fortunate enough, don't try to do it alone. You may be able to get somebody else to help you. And how about balance, like work-life balance, or imbalance, I should probably say, because we're both fathers here. Like, you know, you have to travel a lot. Like, do you go to all the away games as well?
no, we go to a handful of the away games, but there's some travel involved as well. The work-life balance is really tough, and we face more and more of that challenge as the digital age sort of progresses into what we're looking at with just constant contact with people. And you can be reached in 6 different venues, whether it's through the 400 social media apps on your phone, or email, or calling somebody, or text, or paper mail's even still around. So trying to juggle all those things and find your boundaries, I think that's the most important thing for me. And I struggle with it still to this day, is being able to, when I go home at night and it's time to be a dad, the phone needs to like stay a little bit further away, and I can't be as attached to my email. And I might be in the middle of some big project where I'm, maybe about to close a deal, or I got some big lead that I'm chasing down, or something I'm excited about. But it's really, really important to find those boundaries and try to stick to them as well as you can. And knowing them in your head, and write them down. Like if it's, you get into work and 9 to 10 is your catch up on emails, and finding a structure in your day is really important. It'll help not only make you more productive, but make your mental health a little better as well.
Okay, fantastic. I think that's great for a lot of the students that are now balancing their heavy course schedule. Now continuing on, in terms of how you get to know your audiences, you had mentioned the value systems are in alignment, but is there I met the Gulls at a chamber of commerce, actually, but is there locations or activities that you typically do to kind of try to identify or place some of these individuals that you're interested in working with?
So I mean, we participate in many different events out in the community, just trying to expand the brand as much as we can. I wouldn't say that necessarily we're attending any events from my perspective to potentially meet community partners, but definitely from a fan perspective, we
Mhm.
might have an event out in, East County, which is 20, 30 minutes out of town here, to try to, get some newer eyes that might not be out there, go up to North County, or try to bring down some of the Anaheim crowd. With our affiliate team being right here in Anaheim, which is about an hour and a half away is all, we can probably draw some people and get some fans in the building that are interested in coming and seeing the next generation of Anaheim Ducks. So just really being out there as much as we can. There's not really a target per se. We're not going out there
Mhm.
saying like, hey, let's go get this today.
Mhm.
Obviously, with some of the different cause-based events, there is an audience that we're targeting, but we really feel that at the end of the day, the entire community should be backing these causes. So it's a little bit easier for everybody to get involved.
And when you meet a potential partner candidate, are they always aware that up like that, like would they even have thought to be a hockey partner? Or are they approaching you, or sometimes you're kind of planting that seed?
Yeah, it's a little of both. We've had partners that have come out to us and reached out and said, "Hey, how much does it cost to have a dasherboard down on the ice?" And then other times you meet somebody out at an event and you start chatting and you just invite them out to a game. Really, the best way to experience hockey is in person, and the best way to know what I can do for your brand is to come out and see it firsthand and see what we're doing for other brands. So yeah, we've had people that come out and they've never been to a hockey game before, check out a game, and the next question out of their mouth is like, how do I get involved? What can we do together? Or the relationship kind of matures over time. So there's a lot of different ways to approach each relationship. And that goes to, like you said, kind of knowing your audience and knowing what each person, where they're at in their business, what they might be looking for, and putting yourself in their shoes to decide, hey, this is where they're at right now, and this might be what they're looking for in the future. So kind of just knowing what your audience is looking for and what they might be after.
Excellent. So then a question I have for you is, especially for you have had a lot of success as a person, and you connect worlds, you connect a lot of, I can say, like, you introduced me to Dale from Sharp, or um uh Grant from the Mason Ale Works, like, and these are great individuals. What does success look like to you? Like, when do you say, like, hey, I've done a good job here? Like, or what is victory to you like in a season?
I think as long as I can, I don't think there's a short answer to that. I think as long as I can go home and spend time with my kids and go to bed at night knowing that I've put in my best effort to making the company great and making furthering strides in our community to make our community great, that's my version of success. It's not a monetary designation. It's not how much my bonus was this year. It's not anything like that. It's not how many partners we've signed. If I've gone out and put my best effort forth to make our goals as far as bringing this community together and building the game of hockey, and I can go home and rest easy knowing that I did it the right way and didn't cut any corners and didn't do any questionable tactics or anything like that. That's my measure of success, is that I can know, hey, I did my best and this community is better for what I've done, and my kids and the future generations are going to reap those benefits. Then that's my measure of success.
Excellent. I think it's important for a lot of the students to find that, especially in the modern era, since there's social media, there's all these things that take our attention away, sometimes from the ball, and trying to be able to have that self-worth of, hey, I'm still making progress, is, I think that's it's affecting everybody in the country right now. So thanks for sharing. Another segue, I want to talk a little bit, like, from your perspective, is there any suggestions you have for the students that could be thinking about working in a professional sports or in athletics? Is there any suggestions you have, like, on, how they can understand audiences or how they can get involved? Because their audience is different, right? But it's still the same principles. They have parents, they have classmates, they have teachers, but how you kind of bring teams together and kind of weaponize them to accomplish goals, like, how is there ways that, or things that you would suggest to the students?
Yeah, I think you want to get involved as early as possible and reach out to your local teams, reach out to local businesses that might be working with teams such as yourself. You never know who you're going to meet or who you're going to talk to. And as you're sitting in a lecture hall at a university, your students may not have known the fact that you were partnered with an AHL team and partnered with an NBA team. So talking to somebody that you don't know much about at that point, always give them the same respect as anybody else in your life, and knowing that, hey, down the road that could be a very key relationship. But I think reaching out to your local sports teams and getting as involved as early as you can is extremely important. Short story, I actually started with the Gulls in 1995, 96 ish. I was a water boy for the team, so I didn't know at 9, 10 years old, I didn't know that I was gonna end up working in sports. I knew that I had a huge passion for sports, but yeah, again, I didn't know that this was gonna be my career and be my life at some point. but I treated everybody when I was even at 9 and 10 years old with the same respect. And it ended up landing me this job in 2015. So whenever you're out there in the community, whenever you're taking an internship with the local, hockey team or the local basketball team or local football team, soccer team, whatever it is, make sure that you're always open-minded to who you're speaking with, and meeting new strangers and introducing yourself and sharing contact info, networking as best you can to further your branches of your tree to reach out when you might need somebody.
Excellent, excellent, Derek. And then, do you have any? I mean, you got to have some favorite stories, like a certain game you went to, a certain event. I mean, you have these theme nights. For me, it was taking my oldest son to Star Wars night. Like, that was really special for him and me. So, how about you? Is there a favorite Gulls memory?
I mean, anytime I can get my kids in that building, we have staff skates on game nights on weeknight games from 2 to 3. We skate at the arena and we get out there with all of our coworkers. Once in a while, if the kids are out of school or whatnot, I get to bring my kids and they sit and watch the staff skate, and seeing their eyes light up, like seeing me skating on the rink that the Gulls skate on, is pretty cool. I will tell one quick story about Irvine. And I'll try to make it quick here, but we were up in Irvine, like I said, playing in that COVID season. I'm working the coach's camera, and the league had actually mandated that we take out the back glass out of both the penalty box and the bench area to increase airflow to eliminate some of the threat of COVID. Because, the players were testing, we were all testing every day walking into the facility. But still, there's a lot of questions in the world at that point. So we were taking every precaution we could. And so we took out the back glass. So there's about, like I said, 20, 25 people in the building is all. You could hear pretty much everything that was said, whether it was a coach yelling to the ice about the player, a referee yelling to a player, players yelling at players, whatever it is. So we were playing a team, and I don't remember which team this guy played for at the time. We got a guy on our team named Trevor Carrick. Trevor Carrick and Boko Imama got into some sort of verbal argument. So you could hear them just chirping back and forth. And hockey's a very traditional sport. If you don't follow hockey, we still have fighting. So you
Yeah.
could tell the tension was in the room. This fight was about to happen. It was just a matter of when this fight was going to happen. They were very upset with each other. They had taken issue with something. And so this fight happens. And these two guys, I mean, Trevor Carrick's a big guy. He's about my size. And Boko Imama is just a machine. Like he's a wall of a human being. And I'm like, this is gonna be crazy. Like these two heavyweights are about to go out. Anyway, they fight. The fight's about everything you wanted it to be, just an incredible fight. They go into the penalty box. So they're sitting right in front of me, and there's no backs on the penalty box, so I can hear. And typically after a fight, you're gonna hear a lot of not safe for work language and things going back and forth about family members and things like that, stuff that you don't want to hear. So they sit down, and Boko's on the left and Trevor's on the right, and Boko looks over at Trevor and he throws him a big thumbs up. And I'm like, what? And Trevor goes, thumbs up right back to him. And he goes, that was awesome. We should have done that a long time ago. And that was what they said to each other
Yeah.
after just beating each other up physically on the ice. So I think one of my favorite memories just from a hockey perspective is that, and seeing just the respect that these guys have for each other after they go out and just beat each other up. They're like, hey man, you're really strong. That was cool. It was pretty funny to watch. And I wouldn't have had that experience if it wasn't for COVID shutting down a season and me working a coach's camera and the glass being pulled out of the penalty box. There's a lot of things that led into it.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. I think that that's something that throughout mainstream America, like we really need to work on is like not holding the grudge. Just because we're on different sides of the team doesn't mean we all can't cooperate. And just so you know, we did in my class last week, we did game theory. It was called the prisoner's dilemma. And I had 4 students that had to behave as ambassadors, and they had to go through some rounds and make decisions whether they're going to cooperate, whether they're gonna confess, are they gonna lie on somebody. And one of the students had made a comment like, wow, like I didn't think it would get this lively, or people would get this upset, but I hope that we all can be friends when this is all over. And I think that's the type of logic that you're talking about. We all need to come together, bottom line,
I feel
and
like
win
the
together.
the world as a whole and the country as a whole could probably learn from that lesson too.
I think so. I think so. Well, Derek, you know, for any of my students or the community of Oberlin, if they want to get in contact with you, or you know, or you already told us how to they can check out the Gulls, but how could they get into contact with you?
Yeah, reach out. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Just my name, Derek Dawson. You can also email me at ddawson@sandiegogulls.com. I'll spell it out. Happy to have you pass along info if anybody has any reason to reach out and just wants to chat. If you're looking to get into the industry, looking for tips on that, or just looking to chat on things in general, I'm happy to be available.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to encourage it. I have some athletes in my class that are thinking about their futures, and I'm just definitely going to encourage them to check out this session and to connect with you, Derek. And again, on a personal note, like I'm a big fan of yours. You know, I commend the San Diego Hockey Club for investing in your career since you were a water boy. Like it's really special. You know, you believe what you do, and you know, I wouldn't be around long term without the contributions of people like you and Kyle and Greg and like all the others. So again, you guys are special. Looking forward to seeing you again. Thanks for coming to this session. You know, on that note, you know, like, subscribe, share. Like if you're watching this as a recording, if you're watching this live, if you came to the classroom, you know, we're trying to bring a lot of individuals forward to talk about how we're going to make this world better. You know, one video session at a time. You can check out this content. It'll be on Twist of Fate, a small business podcast. You know, where you know we want to help everybody find their inspiration. On that note, I don't know. I still have Mike left. I know that there were some other groups that joined earlier, but Mike, do you have any questions that for Derek before we go,
Uh-oh.
or myself?
No, I've actually enjoyed this because I didn't know who you were, Douglas, and then when you said you were with Three Steps Forward, it's like, oh, that all came together. And
Sure.
I mean, let's be real. Sponsorship is the backbone of keeping companies alive, keeping sports teams alive. So I know the corporate sponsorship department does a great job at what they do. So thank you, Derek.
Thank you, Mike. We appreciate you, and so you can kind of connect the dots here as well, Doug. Mike's probably one of the longest standing season ticket holders of this team, going back to my said water boy, stick
Oh
boy days.
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I've actually known Mike since I was a kid in those days working for the Gulls, and he's been a season ticket holder every single year, and he goes to every event and he participates in every volunteer activity, and he really is just an incredible ambassador for our fans. And he's here. Like that's just a testament to who Mike is.
Yeah. Mike, that's really special, man. And I really appreciate you spending the time and kind of, you know, we're trying to walk the walk and talk the talk and be positive and bring everybody together. So you really honor us by joining the session today. Hopefully I get to meet you face to face down in Pachanga.
Sounds great. I look forward to it. As a retired Navy veteran, I really appreciate what you guys do too. So thank you.
Yeah. Actually, to clarify, my grandfather was a World War II Master Sergeant, and you know, he passed a lot of his lessons to my dad, and then he obviously passed that stuff to me. You know, I still get up at like 4 a.m, like you know, the whole when at peace, prepare for war. Like you know, a lot of that stuff it really translated to my business career and life, and I teach that to my kids now. So you know, veterans are special to me, so that's why I try to invest as much as I can in the program.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right, Derek. Well, you have a good one down in sunny San Diego. I can tell you it's a lot colder here than down there right now here in Cleveland.
It's sunny today. For once, it's sunny. We had a big old rainstorm last week that lasted. I know I'm preaching the choir here.
There was flooding.
That's a whole week, and that down here is very rare. So it's nice to see the blue skies are back, and we're getting our money's worth on our rents and mortgage payments.
Sounds good. Okay, well, you take care, guys. Bye-bye.
All right, Doug. Thanks for having me.